Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Warsaw, Poland for the water. Yeah, that's exactly right. Come on. I don't even need to say anything. Of course, it's the Wargaming.net League Grand Finals, and I'm loving the atmosphere in here still. Some people have gone, but the people that are here are making up for their absence in terms of their enthusiasm. Really, really exciting to see. Now, it's been a long day. A lot of fantastic games, and maybe even some so good that you forgot the others. But we're going to check our bracket right now, and here it is. Now, to remind you guys, 4 teams are advancing through to tomorrow. Virtus.pro, Na'Vi, Red Rush Unity have already made it in. As you can see here, this is our lower bracket final coming right up. And of course, it's going to be between Fnatic and PvP Super Friends. The first time we're going to see PvP on the stage today, and just quietly coming from my own home server, I'm looking forward to see how they do. But I know who else is looking forward to see what they have to show us. Of course, it's our experts. Clutch, take it away.
We are excited to see what the PvP Super Friends is going to bring for us in this series. We saw Fnatic earlier. They did defeat the first team they went up against, which was JL Esports Club from China. They had a devastating loss against Virtus.pro. And now, each of these teams has one more shot to continue in the tournament or to go home. Fnatic, the #1 seed from North America. PvP Super Friends, the #1 seed from Southeast Asia. Batman is going to be one of the stars of the show, I believe. He's known for his personality and also for some of his costume choices when he attends these different tournaments, which is fantastic to see. But let's break down Fnatic once again, gentlemen. We've talked about this team many times from North America because they are the best America has to offer right now. But so far, I think we've seen more impressive play coming out of Simp. And I look forward to see what Fnatic is still able to do here in this series. Aggressiveness, yes. Creativity, definitely. That is their strongest suit. Accuracy, no. And fight coordination has been a big struggle for them at this tournament. How can they change it around?
Well, they need to step up their game. Against JL Esports, they did okay, but I don't think they were there, right there. It was the first game they had, so maybe they were just feeling out. And I guess Virtus.pro, I think they just got totally outplayed. And Virtus.pro played really ballsy tactics, so I felt like Fnatic was playing mind games against themselves.
Against themselves, exactly.
Again, they are their worst enemy, themselves.
And Nagatron said that. I said that.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I really hope for their sake they sat down after the games and watched upon things they've done. They've been spread out too thin several times. They YOLO'd in their death. Also did some really, I would even call some of those rookie mistakes. Maybe it's, yeah. That could be the pressure of the final tournament or something, but there are some things you just don't do. And they've done it against really good teams. So they had time to cool down now, and they had time to rethink everything and maybe reorganize. If they did that, this is not the end.
They do need to reorganize some things, and maybe it is just the data assessment after the matches that they have to realize a little bit better what went wrong. Do they address it at an individual level, or do they address it as a team overall? Do they need to completely overhaul their tactics? Nagatron has addressed it as a team with roster changes ever since Season 1. And after the loss that they had against Season 3, so far Nagatron knew, hey, we need to change some things around. The whole team knew they had to change some things around. And one of the changes they have made is Relix. Relix has been playing in some of these matches, has not been playing in some of these matches. We saw him during the match against Virtus.pro, and Relix has been a T1 many times. That's what we first saw him in Season 1. But now he's been switching it up into the heavier tanks, the T69s, the 5100s. This comes to the question of the specialization versus the jack of all trades. I feel it's a good decision to have that availability, but the lack of experience with Antonio Handsome Jr. and Jackie Rudo. Jackie Rudo is more seasoned to being on the Fnatic team compared to Antonio Handsome and Jr. I feel that there may be some of that rookie type mentality. I'm not going to speak for them, but no matter what, when it comes to adding all the individual skill together, they have to act as a team professionally. And they need to do that to win this series and have a chance moving on.
This is definitely a team play game, so
it is, yeah.
They must rely on each other as much as they can, as one unit, not as 2-3 separate groups on the map.
And they can't identify themselves that way either. Because if you have the mentality, hey, I'm the new kid on the team, they may be more prone to make mistakes. And you can't do that.
Yeah, the individual skill of the players is not high enough to compensate this. They have to play as team. It's not that they compensate one of the players. They have to act as team perfectly. And I think also the decision making from the team in the past is not really good. They don't react to the enemies. They're just playing their own style. It's fine. They're playing aggressive. It's nice for the viewers, but they don't react to the enemy movement. So if the enemy start a movement, they continue pushing in the one direction where they were starting. They have no in-team communication to switch around the tactic, to switch aside maybe and attack on the other way, or break the attacking and change to another side.
To change it up, but when it comes to individual-based play, Hugo Maximus has performed very, very well multiple times in IS3s. And in North America, we see the battle buddies of Nagatron and Soviet. But here you see Fnatic's Hugo Maximus. Kill-death ratio, 4.03. You can't argue that in North America. It's why it's one of the best teams out there. Damage per game, again, it's spread. His IS3 becomes a lot of placeholders, or the placeholder position where he will be the threat, the enemy will run for that threat, or he'll stay in that position, and Soviet and Nagatron will push into that area and do the damage. He performs very well, but again, it comes down to, are you relying too much on that performance, too much on that role compared to other teams and what they're bringing? I am a little bit concerned, honestly, with Fnatic based on what we've seen so far at the end of North America and in this tournament. I, however, am not too concerned to count them out so far. But enough about Fnatic. We've talked about them a lot today. I want to talk more about the PvP Super Friends. I want to talk more and see more of what Batman's going to bring. I know Mitch Uber out there is excited to see them because he's part of that group. We've seen them participate in international events. Some of the guys at WCG, they are a cast of characters. But what can they bring to the table that's different compared to these other teams?
Well, they come from really specific region. They actually, I spoke to them, they started as a clan, something like Kazna, and they played on server together since the server had a population of 3,000 people. So you can say they're like core founders in the game, in their region. They became friends there, started to play 2 seasons, won. Their leader, Batman, was also playing for Australia at the time. And he went to World Cyber Games. So this is not a first big event he has seen. In his team, he has a brother, Anto, and he also has, of course, his faithful sidekick, Robin. So when he goes and spots, Robin shoots. I'd say that's an unbreakable bond. And since Batman cannot be wrong, if something happens, it will be Robin's fault.
It's Robin's fault of the dynamic duo. Icewater, Little Mac, Hydro Rex, Robin Antari, Anuto, and
Icewater
Batman.
is definitely their best player. He's a damage dealer, and they rely on him to get the job done. We will see, will it be enough against Fnatic.
We can take a look at the overall stats of the team to get a better judgment of where they are. Accuracy is definitely their strongest suit. Fight coordination with all these superheroes, sometimes it's hard to work with the Justice League.
Sure.
That's why Superman works alone a lot of times. The decision making, that is going to come with experience. And with more experience PvP has outside of the Southeast Asia region, they will improve in that factor. Again, guys, these stats are judged upon all the teams that are in the international tournament here. And when you have Na'Vi almost getting 10s out of them, we're not trying to diminish PvP's talent. We're just trying to see how they match up to the rest of the world.
They also said one more interesting thing. In their team, everyone can play tier 1.
Hey, that's a
More than
tough
many
role
other-
to fill, man. Tough role to fill. A tank that can barely do any damage except against a 1390, then you get the kill against it, and your buddy's
So I
buying a
guess
beer.
no specialization of tier 1s in their team. They're going for.
Yeah.
I was also talking yesterday with these guys, and they're in a pretty good mood here, and they're happy to be here, and everything else is just something special for them. So already that they're so far in the tournament is a great thing for them. And so I think the pressure is far on Fnatic side, because Fnatic alone, the name is so big that they expect to have to go to the top 3, and I think that's the advantage P4B Super Friends have now. And yesterday we were talking a bit of fun. They had to play in the first round against Na'Vi, and they asked me how we can beat Na'Vi. And I just told them, play your best and don't change anything from them what you have trained, because if you change now something, you can't really play it at the best.
Exactly. And that's a better judgment to make based on your own efforts as a team of what you planned. If you execute what you planned, that is part of the success of coming to one of these tournaments. And then you can make the necessary adjustments. If you play haphazardly without a plan, then you're going to have haphazard assessments and strategies for the next tournament. That's a very good point. Very good point. That's really good advice, too.
Yeah.
Man, awesome. All right, so let's take a look a little bit more at Batman kill death ratio comparison, the Aussie favor that he has. Kill death ratio not too bad down there in Southeast Asia, 2.83. Personal battles, he may be leading the charge here on that server with 18.2 thousand. Damage per game is a little bit spread out. And I'm looking forward to how they're going to perform on the battlefield, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also looking forward to hear what Batman and the rest of his team, PvP Super Friends, had to say about themselves.
Well, it's a privilege and a great honor for us to be going against the best teams in World of Tanks. In the last two events we had, our special tactic was me putting my mask on, which I believe scared the enemy opponents. We're gonna do it again and hopefully it does work. We're scared of facing You Are Dead. They're the best team, I believe, but they're in the group stage, and hopefully they don't come out of the group stages. One, two, three.
And there you have it, World of Tanks fans. PvP Super Friends are here to stay, either with smiles or with the results. You can't count these guys out. And I was looking forward to the mass videos, but I guess they're not going to have it yet. Maybe a special celebration if they're able to take out Fnatic. The map veto is almost underway, where we will determine who will be on what side for the different maps for this best of 5. Not too many best of 5s are left, gentlemen. We got a couple more matches tomorrow, and then the best of 7, where we will see steps. Fine.
Tomorrow in the final.
Oh, there it is!
Batman.
There it is, folks. The Batman has arrived. Jeez.
Yeah, but he's a personality. Everyone know him, and I mean, especially for the European and the Russian
here,
teams,
I would say definitely.
everyone will remember PvP Super Friends with Batman. I mean, all the other teams, you know them, but you will remember this team and this guy. And that's a statement. That's really cool. We need personalities in esports.
One of my favorite answers from Batman is somebody asked him, Batman, what do you want for dinner? Justice.
Awesome.
Anyway, the crowd's loving it so far. Mines is the first map that has been
Justice.
Oh man, I wish Robin had
Steps is banned.
Steps is banned. All right, so we won't see the Cape Crusader and the Boy Wonder on Steps. Prohorovka, Cliff, Ensk, Ruinberg, and Himmelsdorf could be the map choices. They will be the map choices. Now it determines order and who is where. Speaking of dressing up, we do the shootout. We do the shootout, obviously, in North America. We do the face-off, to where we have both the team captains call in via Skype and have some challenging words for each other. A little bit of controversy here and there. Nagatron dressed up as the Macho Man Randy Savage. And he had the perfect accent and went into this rhyme to taunt his opponent. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in World of Tanks. Unfortunately, I don't think Nagatron could fit that costume in his luggage from America, but we do have the highlight video on the WGLNA YouTube, so make sure to check that out. So they are a cast of characters as well, but as you mentioned, the pressure is so high for them right now.
Yeah. I mean, okay, they had the second place in the North American finals, but yeah, first or second place was guaranteed basically in North America, and now they have to show everyone that they are one of the best and they are worth to be the Fnatic, wearing the Fnatic jerseys.
Yeah. And the stakes have been raised because of that as well. Fnatic is an esports brand that has been around for quite a while. They represent many different teams, and Fulcrum Gaming, who is now Fnatic, was in talks for a while to make sure this was the right move for them, and it was. And when they made the decision right before the Season 3 finals, we were all excited about it because I've worked with Fnatic teams in other games before. I highly respect them and the brand and the professionalism that they bring. So it was a big step for everyone in North America and around the world.
Fnatic is, I would say, the top 3 worldwide of esports teams. And in Europe, that's such a big name. And yeah, if you make it as player to Fnatic, you have done it.
Yeah, you've made it. But the struggle's not over for Fnatic. All right, 2 more maps are chosen.
Himmelsdorf is left and Ensk.
I think Himmelsdorf was a choice of Nagatron. Yes, I can read lips, almost. Well, Himmelsdorf is a lot longer than Ensk. Right, here we go.
That's scary that they didn't ban Himmelsdorf. I mean, if they don't like Himmelsdorf, as we know from the past, why they don't pick it as 5th or 4th map?
That's a good point. Himmelsdorf has been a bit of a struggle for Fnatic. Their only loss in North America outside of the Season 3 finals was on Himmelsdorf. Was one of the maps that they lost on. All right, and there's the hand shake. He's got to check his
it's already
utility
wet
belt.
hands.
Okay.
Is he nervous?
All right. Give it up for Batman, folks.
Wow, he's bigger princess than Carmen.
And he even has it on his jersey there
Yeah.
with the bat symbol. That's awes's That's
It's
truly
called
unique.
We need a
Justice
light
Gear, come on.
on the.
We do. We need a bat signal.
Bad signal.
If we could
It's
finagle
actually
that, amazing.
in the team logo, PvP. PvP. It
Oh,
goes
really?
for the bad sign.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 30 points for you for that fun fact. Melly's actually. Well, we're going to use that on Twitter for a code, but not anymore. Oh well. There's Junior on the screen as you see, one of the newer members. There's the thumbs up. He's going to play the T1. Relics to his right, one of the more seasoned members of Fnatic. Jackie Rudo just next to him, coming from Canada. Hugo Maximus to your right on the screen there. Friction used to be the caller. He'll be in the other T1 most likely. Hugo Maximus, stay tuned for his IS replay, folks. And there's the man with the plan, Nagatron. I think...
Hopefully with the plan.
Hopefully with a plan. Now, Junior's parents actually came to the first ever event we had in Las Vegas, and I have to say it was an amazing time for us to see the joy on their faces and to see how much fun they were having. And when the bet was made between Nagatron and Junior, when Junior was the leader of another team, that if they took a map off them, they have to shave their face. The map was Prohorovka. Junior lost the bet, had to shave his face. His father provided the razor for us. And we actually got to film a segment for that we aired during the finals.
Yeah, cool story.
Yeah, cool story, bro.
Yeah, cool story, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, just trying. I wish I knew a little bit more about the PvP Super Friends, but I've only interacted with them twice. Once was when they represented Australia for the World Cyber Games. We were on the same bus, and I was talking to them a little bit, and the one was like, you're Clutch, right? And it's like, yeah, I am. Like, we're big fans. And I was like, cool. And we started talking for a little bit. But I knew that there was something special about these guys because of the amount of energy that they had, especially after a long bus ride from the venue to the hotel.
Well, we know they like to play aggressive and map control. That's the info we got. So we will see. Maybe they will try some pushes and interesting plays. Hero stuff, completely.
Yeah, that would be really fast games because Fnatic doing the same.
Well, Ensk will be the first map here, and I'm looking for the rails.
Yeah.
Which side they're going to go.
Hopefully on the right side.
Not sure which area they actually spawn. Couldn't tell that gentleman who's home and who's away.
We
Yeah.
can see some of them are getting in the beat.
To this match, we haven't seen a single class in the city area of Ensk.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
We have not. We have
Mid
not.
or open area,
Yeah.
always.
Usually in the train tracks.
Yeah, there's a problem with the cap.
I think with the first game on Ensk, I don't know what was the opening game, but they pushed in the city side and then they fight against the team in the cap from the city side, so it was 50% of city fight.
Not fallen engagement. Well, a lot of times on ends, we'll see both teams go city side, and they'll try to use those kitty cat corners to launch a couple volley shots and move back. A lot of the T1s will hide in the corners, and I've seen some excellent play by some of the 5100s. They'll take a gamble going through that more open center next to where the statue is and try to swing around, but a lot of times they'll try to fight that one line. But you'll have an IS-3 just reverse angled down that corner, waiting for one of those tanks to pop out, get a shot, and then back up. So it can be really easy for some of these teams to get completely caught off guard if they're over-aggressive in the city area, and that's probably why we haven't seen it as much, but anything is possible between these two teams. Still waiting for final confirmation from all these players. Almost ready to go, folks. There's the reach of... What are they reaching for? Oh, looks like mints.
Doping. Can an admin check this? Can an admin check this?
Maybe they're giving the mask for Robin.
Oh, they need peppermint.
Yeah. Well, after they win this match, there's plenty of beautiful women here in Poland I'm sure they want to talk to, so
Yeah.
that's really important.
Yeah, if they have to run off the
They can't
switch.
win. Batman took mask off, so it's
Oh, no.
it's Bruce Wayne playing.
It's Bruce Wayne
Oh,
playing.
no.
They're at a disadvantage now.
Definitely. Yeah. Badness, much stronger.
All right, almost ready, folks. We appreciate your patience before we get this final match ready. I believe it's the final match of the day. And then tomorrow we will see the losers, the lower bracket finals, the lower bracket finals.
Winner
and then
bracket
after that,
finals, grand finals.
Yeah. Well, we have to have the winner of Navi versus Virtus Pro go down to continue on to the winners bracket. And they're not going to go down. Not going to go down at all.
No.
But looking forward to it, ladies and gentlemen. Last match of the night. And to help bring us the action, let's throw it over to the commentators.
Thank you, Clutch. And unfortunately, PvP are playing without Batman, and they're playing with Bruce Wayne instead. But still, they're going to put on a good show. Now, these teams have never fought each other. I don't believe some of the players might have fought each other at WCG. I can't remember because the teams were very mixed up at that point.
Well,
they're from different
way
regions.
far back, PvP was on the NA server. There used to be a clan there. We fought against them regularly. So a few members. I know the team isn't really a lot of those old PvP members, a lot of new people, but there's maybe one or two.
Yeah,
on there
Batman was called Purple Nurples.
That was his name?
That was his name on the NA server, Purple Nurples.
That's one heck of a name. I can see why he's Batman now.
Now he's Batman, and he's Batman because of the Batchat. It's his favorite tank. But anyway, we are going to be playing on Insk with Fnatic versus PvP Super Friends featuring Batman and Robin. Anyway, first game is Insk. Now, I guess, let's have a look at these tank lineups and see what will happen on this city map.
For tanks, we have 3 5100s versus 2 IS3s and 3 5100s.
Mirror
Same
matchup.
lineups, yeah. With that, it's the strongest lineup, I think, for a city map. We've seen it at Himmelsdorf, we've seen it at Ansk. It just works. And
It's cookie cutter. With the blind picks, you don't know what the opponent's going to take. You're not going to take something super risky unless you have a really specific thing in mind. Now, what we did say with the Lemmy Train, they decided that they were not so confident, so they were going to try some special tactics. Fnatic and PvP don't really know each other so well, so play standard. That's a very sensible thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we are seeing the sensible, normal Fnatic play. They're going to play towards the middle, maybe some blind fire. There are shots fired. I see impacts on dirt, but no damage dealt yet. Robin and Little Mac are just now reloaded. And, oh, nice reverse angling by an IS-3. Right down and shots fired, no connection. Blind fire back and forth already.
They are trying to find those connections, but in the meantime, we do see some movement there in the east as the T1s are making their move forward. The Junior is right forward against Hydroxus.
And Hydroxus is going to try to find him. Shots fired, traded, but only a little damage done. Hydro is down to 67 hit points, but he should go down
He did
soon.
survive, and Junior only received a single shot back. But here's the real damage going out. As Little Mac shoots Jackie twice, only receiving one shot back. Great exchange in the favor of PvP Super Friends.
Great job. More shots fired, and Little Mac is down to actually 689 hit points, and his 5100 advantage going back towards Fnatic.
But these shots, blind shots, I say semi-blind shots. They know where they are. They're going for standard play. Seems really even at this point, but it does look like Fnatic are trying to take the offensive. They're in the east. They're trying to make sure that something happens and trying to take control of the map. PvP Super Friends, a little bit on the defensive here.
Yeah, and again, damage was traded by Hydrox and Junior. Junior coming out on top again, and Hydrox is alive at only 19 hit points. One more engagement should finish off that T1, assuming he doesn't make any mistakes. He does have the support.
But Junior is going to pop out, and there is support for PvP Super Friends there. So if Junior does come out for that shot, there's a good chance he will not make it.
Oh, and Junior does go for the reload, and Hydrox hesitates to peek out, and he could have finished off Junior if he just went for it.
Not really. There was support there for Fnatic on the side. I believe there is a heavy tank of 5100 there on the flank with him, so it would have been the same situation. Little Mac and Robin could have protected the PvP Super Friend T1, and Friction would have definitely been able to protect his teammate Junior. But oh, what a shot there from Robin, I believe, taking him down. Great shot there for PvP Super Friends.
Yeah, fired through the train tracks, right under one of the trains. Beautiful shot, very difficult to make, and actually connects onto Junior. Not quite paying attention to the west. And at the same time, though, Hydrox is down, so it's just a T1 trade. That does reveal, I believe, that Fnatic is in the east. I believe they saw 1 or 2 of those tier 8s out there.
It's a bit of a fake though, isn't it, really? Because the Fnatic isn't fully in the east. And it's kind of like, okay, we've got 2 guys there, but then PvP Super Friends know that there are some in the south. So if you're PvP Super Friends, you've got 2 options. You go for like, okay, grab up into one big group and charge at one of these 2 packs of Fnatic. or stay playing defensive until you can get some sort of HP advantage. And it seems like they're playing for the passive rather than some sort of aggressive play.
My solution as PvP would actually be to send probably two of our tanks, a little 5100 hit squad, and try and catch Jackie Rudo, because Jackie has been damaged a little bit in his IS-3. Two 5100s could just jump on him, unload, not even have to use all of their shells, and then just leave. Just leave when you're done and get whatever T1 is out on the west on your way out. And with that, Fnatic might be able to start a fight.
Naxxon those runs straight into one of the IS-3s there, receives a shot in the face, but he has the autoloader, and he can unload, and he will be able to get this IS-3 unless he can bounce some shots. One more shot, he is tracked, he's in the open, and he will go down, but no, he survives with very little HP. One last shot for Naxxon. Great exchange there for Fnatic. Naxxon did everything perfectly there, managing to get the kill for almost no damage in return.
And he got two beautiful track shots. He tracked that IS-3, kept him from escaping or angling his armor properly, and also, if you didn't notice, there was an ammo rack that happened, which made it so that IS-3 was not going to get off that one parting shot.
That was beautiful play. If you track the tank, you might know from your own experience, if you don't hit in the exact right place, you will not do damage as well. You just track it. But that was fantastic shooting from Naxxon, proving he is a superior player to most. But there, Robin is getting taken down.
He's burning.
Quite significantly. Burning without a fire kit. That is just unfortunate for him. You should always take a fire kit in a French tank, in my opinion, for this reason. Although, why wouldn't you?
Maybe you bring rations for a faster reload and just altogether better crew performance, but I think it's more worth it to bring the auto fire extinguisher on every single tank. I bring auto fire, I bring that big repair, and then I also bring the large first aid. They're all worth it.
Yeah, I do know that some pros do prefer to bring things that will increase the speed and reload, like rations or obviously the coffee and stuff like that, and even the engine boosters and stuff with the scouter tanks like the 1390s, and go, okay, I'm not really a combat tank, I'm not meant to be the one taking the damage, so I'm going to go as fast as possible. That is my HP, that's my toughness. I'm not going to get hit, that's the point. So
maybe
that's the exchange, but yeah, it's a big maybe. It's a big risk.
It's a real, yeah, exactly, huge risk, and it's for very specific strats where timing is important, and being able to go quickly is important. Otherwise, it's generally something unwise to bring, except on maybe T1s. T1s, you're pretty much going to see that all the time, because if you catch fire on a T1, you're usually just already dead.
Yeah, but I can only assume that Robin's fire damage, considering it burned for a long time, that it actually took a lot of damage to his internal components. I'm not sure
I
if
think
he
he actually took a shell
that.
whilst he was burning. It seemed like his health dropped very quickly all at one moment, and then just kept going down a little bit. Because these guys do have perfect crew skills. Every crew skill is unlocked on these tournament accounts, so that everyone's on that perfectly even playing field. And because of that, you are going to burn a little bit less when you catch fire.
But Batman has been discovered, and he goes down as well. So Batman's out, Robin's low on HP, and the big engagement comes as Little Mac comes in to try and help as Jackie is on the defensive. Good play though as they, Friction comes in. He needs one more shot to go down. Great play by their PvP Super Friends, but they can't get down Jackie as Jackie somehow plays into Little Mac, goes on fire again, or should I say not him again, because Robin was on fire last time. He goes down to very low HP, 16, and Jackie will be able to pick up that kill. Jackie plays superbly there, and Robin goes down to taking the game to Fnatic, 1-0.
That's very strange. Do you know PvP? I don't think any PvP Super Friends have fire extinguishers on their tanks.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
2 fires in one battle, and I don't think we've seen any fires that were not instantly put out before in this tournament.
I don't even think I've seen anyone catch fire. I can't think of a moment when I noticed that, because you take only one tick with the auto fire extinguisher.
Yeah, I haven't noticed. I think actually I saw one.
You saw one?
Fire. I think I did, but it was put out, so I didn't mention it. But the fact is that we saw 2 in this battle. Fnatic is somehow burning PvP Super Friends to the ground. As literal as I can say that.
I had to sit there and just kind of clap at you for that one.
All right, we do like the puns, but still, remember to get involved on our social media. I do think that there are a lot of PvP super fans watching right now, as is their first appearance live on stage. So get in touch on #TheGrandFinals to let us know your thoughts and their support, because they can't hear you, unfortunately. They are all the way here in Poland. Anyway, what can they do to improve their performance? I don't think they were really outclassed in any particular one area, apart from maybe not bringing fire kits.
Well, I think the fire kit shows maybe a lack of experience with just... I feel like more experienced players understand you need this automatic fire extinguisher. You have to have it. It seems like something that on a 5100 is completely necessary. I understand why they do it, but there's a more important piece of consumable to bring. Hopefully they change up after catching fire twice and
Yeah.
severely influencing the fight.
It really was. It really was a huge turner because Robin took so much damage from it. And then we saw at the end there, one of their tanks were burning and it almost killed him. If it was 16 HP remaining at the end, it would have killed him. But Jackie played superbly, backed off at the right time, dodging the shots. Friction came in to help, a bit too aggressive, just easily got focused down, didn't really do the damage there, but it was enough. And in the meantime, the rest of the team did, look at the twitch there for Batman. He's not got his mask on. He's not used to this sort of behavior.
It looks like he's shaking. I don't know. It's
He's
just his leg
He's
shaking.
shaking his legs.
Okay.
He's nervous, but he doesn't have his mask on. Otherwise, if he had his mask on, he'd be relaxed. He's Batman. He's Batman.
Robin looks especially Robin-esque. It's like you see the little thing with his
Robin's
hair
one
going on
sat
there.
on Batman's left, right on your camera there. They actually have logos on their back. They actually have their logos on their back. You have the Batman logo on the back of Batman, and you have an R on the back of Robin. So it's really cool that they've customized these jerseys for the individual stars.
He should get a cape.
That's a good point. We should tell him to get a cape.
That would be awesome.
So a mask and a cape. I don't know why he's not wearing the mask. He always wears the mask. We saw in the chat that he was asked to remove it. I don't know why. Maybe because it might interfere with the
It's got
sound
so much Batman
cancellations.
technology. I mean, Batman has so much
That's
amazing
it.
tech. He's
it's
probably
his gadgets. You can't have the gadgets here. It has to be even playing field, and he has to be Bruce Wayne. He can't be Batman for this tournament. It's just too unfair. Just too unfair. Anyway, so in the next map, we will be seeing Himmelsdorf. Now, we've seen some different sort of plays on Himmelsdorf, but mostly quite standard. If there is going to be a push, it seems to be favored in the west. What can you tell me about Himmelsdorf and Fnatic?
I think the north side favors the west, and I think the south side favors the east. Of course, it's not saying that you can't play the southwest or you can't play the northeast, but I feel like the incredibly strong defenses lie in the northwest and the southeast. As far as attacks, also, if you're in the northeast, the west side is a great way to go. Both teams, of course, can attack across the banana, but in this tournament, for our Global Grand Finals, we haven't seen a lot of 8-line play. We've seen a little bit here and there, but most teams have been going towards the west and
really
playing the
is
hillside.
Hill on west is really been the thing. The only time we see the banana used at all is for the counter charge. So the hill has failed for one team, and one of the teams used the banana just for quick access into the enemy team. And that's the only time we've seen it used at all.
Yeah, it was a single tank just going in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really been used apart from that one instance I can recall. Other than that, it's west play, or hill.
Yeah, and the hill has only been scarcely used. Usually not even teams. There's no teams even going in with like 3 tanks, or I don't even think I've ever seen 3 tier 8s on the hill. It's only been 2 with the T1 there, and rarely do they even push on through to the other side. It's just, but there's so much opportunity too, I feel like, and it's teams playing the west side and not being aggressive enough. There's a lot of little plays that I would like to see that I haven't yet.
Yeah, definitely. But the winter camouflage doesn't really affect the map, guys. It just makes it look a little bit more beautiful. People who used to normal Himmelsdorf.
I think there's a few more bushes in the middle.
Yeah, I've heard of this. There is a few more bushes in the middle. It makes it a little bit easier to cross unseen. I've been told that that's one of the reasons why Fnatic didn't want to play on this map so much, because they're a bit nervous that they're not entirely sure of the changes. They've researched it, but they're not so confident on it, so they wanted to avoid it for that reason. But still, they're not playing in the center. Everything's in the west, and we go into game number 2 of Fnatic versus PvP Super Friends. Now, they need 2 more wins for Fnatic to take out the Super Friends, and this is both teams' last chance. They need to win this to go through to tomorrow.
For tanks, we do have 3 5100s, 2 IS3s versus 3 5100s, 2 IS3s. Mirror lineups again on a city map. And for layouts, opening moves, it's very similar. Both teams going for that football lineup I talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we will see exactly what they do, but it seems near mirror in movement. They're going to take the IS3s to the front, 2 tanks out to the west, and 2 tanks up to the hill. It's almost literally mirrored.
Yeah, although there's first tank spotted in the northeast that is not mirrored, no spotting in return.
So that's the difference in the loadouts here. As we probably the wet ammo rack there for the IS3 on Jackie. I didn't actually think that everyone used the wet ammo rack here.
I believe in the wet ammo rack. The ammo rack on the IS3 is super sensitive. It's crucial, I think, if you're going to be trying to have a longer, drawn-out fight. Especially because you're going to have to burn your kit on it if you take the wrong hit. In a brawl, of course, it still affects you. It's just that it's
A high roll might actually blow you up in one shot if you don't have it. Is that what you're saying?
not a high roll, just the lucky crit. That's it.
Really?
You'll get damaged, and if you don't have a wet ammo rack, there's a better chance that you're just gonna blow up. I think with the wet ammo rack, the chances that you just get ammo racked and blow up instantly without any damage to your ammo rack is minuscule.
Oh, well, it's just the massive increase. But we do have a T1 versus T1 fight as Junior fights out with Hydrex again. These two have been fighting for both maps. And last time it was a draw, basically. I think Junior did get the kill on the PvP Super Friend. And that means that maybe Junior's a little bit stronger. We don't have that much experience with these, with the team from the Asian region, PvP Super Friends. They were the #1 seed, as is Fnatic from the North American region.
But Robin takes out Junior. Junior getting a little bit too aggressive as he was outplaying, I think, Hydrex last battle.
Look at that angle of attack. That was a really good shot there.
Oh, wow. How did...
Yeah.
All the way at the bottom. That is an incredibly
all the way
thin
from
shot.
the left-hand side of the church from the cap zone, all the way up and taking it out. I didn't even know that angle existed.
It's so thin. The chances of actually making that shot are tiny. You have maybe I'd get like 15% chance.
Well, maybe that's exactly what the PvP Super Friends need to take the West as they move up with the T1 and their main combat tanks. Also not for PvP, so Fnatic, sorry, they're in the red. They move up to take the West to react to the loss of Junior on the hill.
And Batman actually doesn't go down, spotting Friction, and now he's going to try and back off. Friction could go for, there's a tiny hole in Gulf 2 that Soviet's actually going
trying to shoot through this little gap, but it didn't hit, it didn't work. The first shot hits the ground.
He can go back to this position, he can do it again. I think it's just, because it takes an exact angle to fire through, he decided after messing up once maybe not to do it
Once
again.
you fire, he should have been spotted, which means that the enemy would be waiting. But Batman goes down, so now it's even again when it comes to tanks. But Friction was hit from somewhere, losing a little bit of HP.
That was earlier in the battle, I think, unless he took another hit again. No, I think he only took one shell early on. I think it was an IS-3 firing just to the perfect angle, not paying attention.
Well, Hugo's on this corner, and he's actually massively outnumbered if the PvP Super Friends are aware of this. However, the Super Friends are backing off into the corner. Do you think they're going to go for a hill play, or are they just scared at this point?
I think they're just taking the safest route to make a counterattack. Because you can't go directly south from the positions they were in. They needed to back off and take the safer one. But now with Fnatic just kind of tightening around their opponent, I'm not sure if they're prepared for this.
Looks like a big move, but they are spotted as Jackie is tracked in the open, but the repair kit saves his life. But he's double tracked, but at this angle, you are not going to penetrate that side armor. It's just too spaced. Anyway, we have Andre on his own, the PvP Super Friend, trying to make something happen, but he is in danger. He now spots the other member of Fnatic, and he's got to be careful here, because if he gets taken out on his own, this could be really bad for the Super Friends, and he just receives a double tap. He bounces it. Great move there by Arete.
Beautiful positioning of the front sloped armor of the IS-3. It's very difficult to play that well. But look at the hill. There's actually, I think, a 5100 on the hill. Jackie Rudo is almost down, but 2 bounces off the front of his tank. And one more shot, he will go down.
But he bounces again. Jackie bounced yet another shot, but he goes down to 2 HP. And Little Mac can't believe his eyes. He has to use another shot to take him down. That was a great bounce in there from Jackie.
But look at how low the health of PvP Super Friends is. So many of their tanks are just 1 shot or 2 away from death.
So is Friction. Robin on the hill trying to find Nagatron or Friction. He fires the last shot, doesn't connect with Nagatron, and decides they have to go back to the cap zone. This is super close from both team members, for both teams here, and Soviet does pick up the kill against the PvP Super Friends.
Yeah, that is Anteri and the IS-3 going down. All 3 5100s are on reload. Swooter is just now reloaded, but Hugo Maximus in the IS-3, consistent fire tank, is going to be able to chase these guys around and do consistent damage, maybe
but
getting
as
more
we
ships.
saw before with the 5100s, they can do a lot of damage to high HP opponents.
But look, cap is begun. That's Hydrex on the north cap, and no one from Fnatic is anywhere nearby. Someone will have to return, making it so this is now a 3v3 fight in the south, potentially, with a north cap happening. Oh my, then doesn't look like anyone's going. Someone is. Friction's going to go back. He's going to take an incredibly long amount of time. Actually, if he doesn't get back quite soon enough, we could see a delay long enough for that T1 to cap into the north.
But there is a big pressure of 3 tanks in the south, and that will definitely beat the cap. And they will have to be aggressive here to try and reset it, which again will leave it into Fnatic's favor. However, doing this cap maneuver, I believe, gives away their positions. It's obvious
there's
where they're
9
going to be.
seconds left on the cap, and there are 2 tanks, Little Mac, Robin on the way, but Hugo Maximus is looking. He misses the shot to delay.
2,
Little Mac and Robin turned the wrong way.
Captured. No, they went the wrong way. Fnatic gets the capture. They outplay PvP Super Friends on the second map, and they were not able to reset that cap in time.
And actually, there were a few seconds left in the match because a tank died, and we got a little bit more damage actually traded out right at the end.
Now, unfortunately, they would have to kill all tanks after that capture that happens within 3 seconds, and it just wasn't going to happen. So, there we go. PvP down 2 tanks, playing quite well, but Batman is actually pretty upset. This guy I've never seen upset before. He's always very positive, but he is
Robin's there
angry
to
about
console him.
something.
It's okay. Robin's got his back.
Robin is his right-hand man, literally telling him, like, hey, dude, like...
Well, he's
okay.
literally his left-hand man.
Okay. Right now, he's literally in his left hand.
Yeah.
Figuratively, he's his right hand man.
Exactly.
Change the word. Anyway, we have got the result in, and on Cliff, we'll have the decider. Will they be going home, or can they pull it back? And they've got a long, long hill to climb.
Yeah, right up to the lighthouse, it is quite a hill to climb. It's rather...
You got the joke.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I'm pretty dense.
I'm glad. I'm really glad. Anyway, they will have to win 3 in a row. A single draw will take them out of it. They have to actually win all 3 maps, and that's Cliff, Prokhorovka, and Ruinberg. Now, again, we have to focus on Fnatic here because that's the experience that we have. How strong are they on Cliff, Prokhorovka, and Ruinberg?
Well, last time we saw them on Cliff, we saw them try to counter out Virtus Pro. That did not work out very well for them. Nagatron, I actually went and talked to Nagatron. I wanted to know what they thought went wrong.
Yeah, what exactly were they planning on that map?
They wanted to go for a crossfire from the east and the west on the positions right under the entrance to the lighthouse, right up under that hill that you just see everyone meet up at all the time and just fight it out.
Yeah.
But Nagatron says he actually made a mistake in there and everything fell apart, and that it was actually his fault, Nagatron's fault.
Nagatron's fault.
It wasn't
He
even-
did. I did say he came up and he was in the position to fire on the hill to push that 1390 off or kill it, and he kind of
missed.
Didn't
He
did?
a few shots did not connect, and I asked, was it getting spotted by the T1? Was it taking the damage on the way in? And he's like, no. We knew that was going to happen. We expected that. It was just that I didn't make it happen. I was not positioning. I wasn't working as well with my battle buddy Jackie. Jackie did fine. I just did everything wrong, and he took that on himself, which I
agree with. From the point of view I was watching, he seemed to get into position, and then he turns left, shoots. Turns around, takes too much damage, realizes I'm going to die. And so he just then panics a bit, doesn't fire anymore, gets down, and then Jackie has to recover, has the HP to actually do the damage, but in the meantime gets himself killed.
He's out there alone.
Because he's out like that. Because it should have been, from what I saw, the plan should be get out with both of the 1390s, kill the other 1390, get into cover. And then they've got the crossfire.
Yeah, and I think Nagatron may have attacked slightly too early. If he'd waited a few seconds in the bush, staying hidden, let the west side move out, they would have been able to get into position, pull guns in that direction so that tanks were not looking in the right way.
Or something.
And then shots from Nagatron and Jackie into the back sides of those tanks taking cover in the rocks. Because you want to kind of push them into that position so they can't get out. Look at that. I heart Warsaw.
He's wooing the crowd here. Fnatic has a new figurehead, it seems, for the Warsaw crowd.
Well, I can see why. Everyone's so nice.
Oh,
really, they are. Very helpful.
You love them now too. Are you going to write your own sign?
Well, this is my first time to Europe, actually.
Is it really your first time to Europe at all, outside of America?
I've been outside America. I just haven't been to Europe. This is the first time I flew over, and it was really cool. I had to stop by in France first, and everyone's very French.
Is that a way to describe someone?
When you, it's like when I was in France, everyone had like scarves on, and it just they looked
like the
French.
film French. And what about Warsaw? How have you found this part of the world? If you've never been here before.
Everyone's beautiful.
Everyone's beautiful.
Everyone is beautiful.
Everyone is beautiful.
Absolutely, like 10 of 10. 80% of people.
He loves Warsaw. You gonna come again?
I want to actually visit what is the museum? The War Museum out here. I haven't gotten a chance to. And then a few of the Wargaming guys went, and Frodan, my former co-caster, he went and he was telling me about it. And he said he got to load a tank. And I'm sitting there like, you got to load a tank. I've missed out on every opportunity to be inside and load a tank. Clutch got to go up to San Fran and do stuff like that, and I was sitting there like, Clutch, you get to go? And now I'm out here in
Why
Warsaw,
not
and it's
me?
so close. It's so close, yet so far away.
Oh, but you wouldn't rather be anywhere than here because
Oh, I love it,
you're
but
having too much fun.
I
You
just
want
love
an extra
tanks,
day.
though.
You
Yeah.
want an extra day.
That
You want to
one
be able to
extra-
go
I
over
should have
there.
scheduled an extra day to
Should
be
I
here.
such? We have to come back on another holiday. But anyway, let's go back to the game as we do have Cliff next. Now, will Fnatic learn from their mistakes after losing against Virtus.pro and Cliff? Or will PvP Super Friends be able to actually get back into this and claw it back? We do know that Fnatic do rely on momentum. They find it hard to recover from mistakes. They get flustered. They prefer being on a momentum train. They prefer trying to get this momentum going. So they would love to have a 3-0 here and get them ready for their next game, which will be against Unity if they succeed here.
Yeah.
So PvP is all up to them to stop this rolling train of Fnatic.
Now, I do know the traditional Fnatic north side strat. They will be spawning on the north, and it actually was very similar to Virtus.pro, except you don't have the tank in the far back. It was a little bit more prepared to attack. That same, if we get a chance to, we might see Jackie in a Pershing. Is he going to be in a Pershing?
We'll find out soon enough.
I don't think he will be. But Jackie in a Pershing used to go up this one little hidden slope on the north side. If we get a chance to see it, I'll show it to you.
Well, we are on Cliff. You can see it's a beautiful map with the lighthouse in the center. Now, this place is critical if you want to have full range of scouting and the ability to crossfire. However, if you're up there, you're also an easy target.
Exactly.
Once you're spotted.
It's just such a great vantage point. It awards you so much control. You are exposed, but there is so much control that is very difficult to deal with if you have the top of that lighthouse. And that's why it's a center point of control for both teams. They deny this to each other.
But we have Fnatic versus PvP Super Friend game number 3 as Fnatic are one step away from facing Unity in the loser bracket finals. But PvP Super Friends want to fight back and stay in the competitions. What about those tanks?
We've got 2 T69s and 3 1390s for the side of Super Friends. On the other side, Fnatic has a Pershing and 4 1390s. I believe we saw the
Wow.
same lineup against Virtus.pro.
Was it 4 1390s? They had a T69 with Hugo in it.
Instead of a Pershing, maybe.
I think they had 2 medium tanks and
Okay.
only 3 1390s. But I have seen
I'm misremembering
4 1390s before, and they normally go and take the west side of that little mountain on the west. So they're on the raised area, but just on the west side of that. But it looks like we're going to have Batman in the center, spotting early as possible, and some shots are going to be fired straight away, but nothing connecting on PvP Super Friends, and Friction takes a shot. However, Batman and Hydrex now getting some damage against them. And wow, the skirmish seems to be non-stop as it goes into the battle straight on as Fnatic decides to head them off. Straight off. So Batman down to 356 HP, 892 for Hydro. Terry down to 883, but Jackie gets focused down. Nactron is also getting focused down. They are doing the right thing, focusing the guns down. They're spreading the HP really well, and if they can get the Nactron kill, then they might actually be in a really good position to take this. They do have a lot of HP removed, but Nactron being so low, Nactron's down! Nactron actually gets removed from the competition. Jackie and Naga are out, leaving just Hugo, Friction, and Soviet to fight this out. With Junior, where is Junior on the far side fighting it out with Robin, I believe.
Yeah, little T1 fight. I don't. If it resolves soon enough, Junior can actually put cap rush
he
on.
killed the crew of Robin's tank. As you can see, it's not destroyed. It's just idle. Robin's crew is dead, and that's something we don't see very often.
But at the center of the map, it's still a fight. Hugo, consistent fire tank, is able to put one onto Batman, and a few bounces will allow Hugo to live for maybe one more shell. Except a bounce again. Yes, he will live and gets one blast out before going down.
And that's Hugo out. Means Soviet and Friction are close to death too. Soviet just needs one more shot to be taken out, and Friction is also close to death. It looks like Fnatic are on their last legs with only 2 T1s left, and PvP Super Friends are getting their first victory here. Cliff is just not Fnatic's map.
That was just amazing. So many missed shots for a portion of that fight. Just about after the first maybe 15 seconds, everyone was missing each other with those 1390s. Of course, they're so inaccurate on the move. You have to let your shots settle, or else RNG is the only thing that's going to make them truly hit.
Yeah, it was such a mess, the fight. It seems like that the PvP Super Friends decided to come to the front, and they were shooting, and they seemed to get hit by Fnatic. Fnatic seemed to know exactly what they're doing, and then focus fire, boom, 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 and they just lost Jackie and Naga, and it went wrong. What happened?
It was because Jackie went down, and then Naga and who was it, and who was with him were not able to make the replying connections. If they'd done that, it would have been a trade 1390 for 1390, but it wasn't. And Batman was allowed to live a little bit longer, along with any of those other guys that were pretty low. As you notice, the damage actually was spread a little bit at the beginning of the fight instead of perfectly focused.
It was, and this is the difference between PvP Super Friends in that map and Fnatic. PvP shared the damage, but focused on Fnatic.
Yeah, the thing was, though, they were all juking around as much as they could to share HP. And Fnatic and PvP Super Friends were doing this. It's just that it worked out a little bit better for PvP this time.
A little bit?
It's the tiniest thing. It was the tiniest thing. It wasn't actually that huge a difference. It just snowballed.
Jackie went from max HP to dead.
The other PvP Super Friends were also incredibly low. It was the tiniest thing. That little advantage, he has to back off. He can't take another shell. And they also couldn't advance as aggressively. They did, but they kind of fell back for a second. Then they said, you know what, let's go forward and let's try for this shot. They could have walked into fire. They could have walked out and one of those 1390s could have been evaporated. It's just a missed shot here or a held shot. Or I think what was actually happening was Fnatic was holding their shots and trying to let them zero, whereas PvP was just letting them go, doing what a lot of 1390s do in the America server, which is choose to, let's just fire all of our shells and see what happens, or let's try and zero these and get the perfect shot. Obviously, I know for a fact PvP wasn't getting settled shots. They were letting them go. There was too little time between the time they stopped and the time they fired. They were relying on RNG, and it worked out in their case here. It's risky, and it does pay off sometimes, but it is incredibly risky.
With the lighter lineup, though, with Fnatic's lighter lineup, maybe it's not as risky for this reason. You get so much damage out of your clip, you can actually afford to lose 2 of your shells.
You can afford to miss a few shells here and there, but you can't afford to miss 3 or more. That's why a lot of Fnatic players will wait and settle their shots instead of letting it go too early. Because the 1390, if you've played 1390,
oh, of course,
yeah,
it's
the
deadly
reticle is massive.
inaccurate. Yeah, if you fire with after moving or turning, you will not hit anything unless you're incredibly lucky. But what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that when you are against lighter lineups with very little HP, all of their tanks had 1,100 damage, HP, and that means only 4 shells from each of the 1390s have to connect, right, to kill one of the other 1390s. Like, on average, maybe they need 5th to finish him off, but they don't need to kill all of them. They just need to kill 2 or 3 before they go and reload because of that the heavier lineup that they had. And so I think that they knew this. So like, okay, fire your shots off quickly and just do damage.
Okay, fair enough to that. I just really think PvP was playing it risky. They were letting RNG help them out a little bit. And with the newest form of accuracy, I mean, you remember when the accuracy was a little bit more dispersed, but the tighter dispersion does allow for you to kind of let shots go and more likely than not actually just hit.
Well, yeah, but the way that they hit just one guy makes me think that it was way more accurate. It was way more.
They're not accurate. It's not like they're not trying to focus fire. They're still doing that. It's just that it's focus fire with these incredibly wide reticles, just letting shots go.
Wow, that was, considering how tightly packed Fnatic were, that's incredibly lucky. But I think maybe it was more the front tanks were doing a bit. What to say? That was exactly what you say. They're doing maximum aim, just chance shots.
Yeah.
But the guys at the back were much more stable, and maybe it was just the layout they were. I didn't really see the terrain exactly how they were angled, but it looked like Fnatic were very high with 2 of the tanks, Nagtron and not Soviet.
The Soviet was high up on the backside of the cliff. He had a nice shot down. It was a good angle. He actually missed one of them on the way up. If he'd made that connection, they also could have sent that into the opposite direction, into the favor of Fnatic.
True, but I'm talking about when on the lower hill, on the middle bump in the middle.
Okay, where
of that they were all 4 of them were.
Oh, well, they were kind of on the back. I thought
they
you
were like staggered in like together. Fnatic were all together, and so PvP were able to pick off one because he was higher than the other, and then pick off another one that was high, and that's how Nagtron that's how I saw it develop. But anyway, we're just repeating what everyone saw, but. What about the next match, Prokhorovka? Okay. We've seen Fnatic lose on Prokhorovka. We've seen them win on Prokhorovka in Season 3 finals. They lost against Simp in the very final map on Prokhorovka.
The full forward.
The full forward, and they were a bit of a mess. But today we've seen them play on Prokhorovka before as well, haven't we?
Yeah, let me look back. Prokhorovka was versus...
I distinctly remember them playing on Prokhorovka, although I can't quite remember either.
Yeah, I'm not actually remembering when they played. Was it JL? Was it against JL?
No, they were play. I don't know. They definitely played it.
Okay,
and they played medium tanks in the center.
Yeah. That was okay. Yeah, they favor the west side. I generally agree. I think it's a stronger way to play. A little bit more flexible, a little bit more room to work with. If you go to the east side of the tracks, I feel like you kind of put yourself into the bottlenecks that are there.
Yeah,
There's three.
JL. You're right. It was JL.
It was JL?
Yeah, it was
okay.
JL. Because they didn't know who they're facing. And JL went to the east, and they set up there, and Fnatic were moving around a lot, trying to find out where they were, learning their opponent on Prokhorovka. They were very adaptable. It wasn't suicidal at all, and they systematically attacked. And then JL Esports...
They pushed over the middle.
Pushed over the middle, and almost won, taking down Fnatic, but... Nagatron and Soviet were together, just finished reloading, and manages to take them out. So it was pretty close. So I wouldn't say they were super strong in that situation. It could have gone either way at many points.
At the end of a brawl, it can be pretty messy. I mean, you're face-to-face with your opponent. You don't get to sit there and play ranged positional games where if you're better at positional play and marksmanship, you'll make those shots count. Whereas close, you can just shoot straight in someone's face. You know, there's a few bounces here and there. The better brawlers win, but in the end, some tanks are going to die. You can't, generally in a brawl, there's no way you're good enough to the point where you're going to walk out unscathed.
That was true, but it was the positions I'm talking about. Because Soviet and Nagatron were very far away because they were spread out a lot. It was all up to the fact that the esports club didn't know where they were. And if they did, they could have just moved off that hill. They were on the raised area. If they just went into any of the dips, they would have survived. And then they would have, once they've reloaded their autoloaders, gone in 4 versus 2. And the 1390s wouldn't, of Nagatron and Soviet wouldn't have been able to hold up to that. So they did play it very close to the wire on Prokhorovka before, and it is 2-1. So Batman and Robin and the Super Friends need to win this map. What do you think they can bring to this party?
To Prokhorovka, we can see a draw very easily. There's great ways to draw this out. That polarization east-west. I think PvP is going to need a faster lineup because if they do not bring enough light tanks, I think what'll happen is Fnatic will target those, and then they can just play passively and run away the rest of the map and just draw it out. Because they'll win. Because you get 1-1 for a draw, and PvP would have then 2-3. It would be 2-3.
We did see that amazing map, Lemon Train versus Simp, where the Object 416 hid in the corner at the very last second and survived with almost no breathing room at all. So as you said, getting a draw on Prokhorovka may not be because you didn't win the fight or wasn't aggressive, just because it's a big map and lots of places to hide.
Precisely. Remember that bowl position on the west side on about the 3 line? Mm-hmm. Right dead center. Both teams have about the same jump to get there. It's pretty much spawn which dictates that. I think that's going to be a crucial point in this because I expect Fnatic to bring 1390s, Pershings, and T69s. Nothing else. No T32s, no heavy tanks for them. That would be just uncharacteristic of Fnatic. And with that, they'll probably take control of that position and just try to abuse PvP with that. I don't know what PvP is going to do. I can't.
Well, let's talk about other situations we've seen more recently. Unity versus Lemming Train, and Unity played it amazingly. They came forward over the hill, aggressive, and then we thought, well, okay, they've done their aggressive move. They're going to consolidate their oh no, they keep going forward again, and they just kept chipping away, and then pushed and destroyed the Lemming Train on it. It was absolutely crazy, but we can see that sort of play with, it was a double Pershing play. It was super aggressive with it. I didn't think you could be super aggressive with double Pershing, but
you can.
I was
Consistent
totally
fire,
taken
man.
by surprise.
Oh,
the lovers in the audience. Round of applause for the lovers in the audience. No, okay, is this because of Junior? He's sharing the love on his cards now, and then you said how much you love here. I think the love is in the air.
I guess it must be a Warsaw thing.
Must be a Warsaw thing. Is it a Warsaw thing? Do we love here? Is that what it is? It's all about friendship, kindness, and love. And now tanks and death and destruction. What
quite
a contrast. But still, you can't help but love the competition. Anyway, we have Fnatic versus PvP Super Friends. It looks like we have a little bit of a technical issue here with Fnatic. They seem to be outside of the room. And you can see that Junior is fanning himself.
And Relix is requesting fruit from the admins and would like giant leaves to fan himself with.
Is that really what he said?
Yeah, look at the chat. They chat with the admins.
Does he want some grapes with that? Maybe.
That's what he's asking for, some grapes and just to be fanned.
Some grapes would be good.
It's not that warm in here. You need a fan.
But PvP Super Friends are much more serious in their booth. They are deadly serious. They need to pick up this next win. They're not able to relax so much. You can see them being much more serious. There's not fun and games in here. Batman doesn't have his mask on. Robin isn't able to play around either. These guys know that they're on their last chance. So they're absolutely on their last chance. They can't make fun of this situation where they normally try and keep high spirits, and they will probably be that after the game. But right now they need to focus. They need to be serious. Last chance.
And look at the bottom of the screen there. One player from PvP. I can't see what the name is, but he looks pretty stressed right now.
I think they all are. This is the first time we managed to get them on camera. They have played against some of the previous matches was against Rete and Navi. So they did manage to get a draw though against Navi. They did manage to actually pull off a draw against Navi, which we obviously seen some of the bigger teams not be able to pull that off. So they do have their skill there. They do obviously have these tricks that can pull off and surprise the bigger teams. So
trying to think how you draw against Navi. Because I saw, well, and PvP drawing against Navi, because Navi is such an exceptional team. We saw earlier on Mines, the South defense was completely crushed. Navi just reading that and then perfect execution on a counter. I guess hand it to him for actually being able to draw against Navi. And
yeah, exactly. I wish I saw that game. I didn't see that game. I wish I did, because they must have some massive creativity there. They must have something that is exceptional that you do normally see from the teams. Anyway, their stats aren't so impressive from what you've looked at, and their region is newer, and you look at them and go, how can these guys do so well? But they are full of character, they're full of life, and you've seen them destroy Fnatic on Cliff pretty handily. It was pretty solid to win.
I think it's a snowball. I thought it was just a snowball. It wasn't a huge difference. It just kind of just tips over. Yay, sound guy.
Yay, sound guy. Getting strangled by Mitch.
Oh, no.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Anyway, we do have the map after that will be Ruinberg. So if we do see PvP get it back, we will have Ruinberg as the map after that. So Ruinberg is another map that Fnatic is not particularly strong at, or you think that they are, if it goes to Ruinberg, they're going to be super strong?
I think they'll just be fine on it. The last execution we saw on Ruinberg was a little lackluster from Fnatic, but I think they probably figured out where their mistakes are, and they didn't seem too bothered. Like I've seen Fnatic go on tilt and be in a bad mood. If they lose here, I think it's just PvP would just be the better team, and they would have really surprised all of us. Fnatic just looks to be calm, cool, and collected. Junior's been joking around the whole time he's on camera.
He's nice and relaxed. That's helping team morale. But I think to get a better view on what's going on there, it's really important now, because PvP just has to pick up one more game or they're out. Let's go over to the experts there so they can analyze those last 3 games in more detail.
All right, let's first break down ENCE. This was standard play coming out of Fnatic. They had the complete map dominance. Soviet and Friction using that eastern play all the way to the north in a really, really good style. Where was this earlier? Where was this play coming out of Fnatic earlier in the tournament? And how important was it they were able to perfect pretty much kind of that play, at least against PvP in that scenario?
Yeah, I think they played too much the mind games, and now they simplified their game a bit and started to play more standard game for them, and it worked out in the ENCE and in the Himmel. Sadly, Cliff didn't go that well, but at least in the ENCE and the Himmel.
No, we'll get into Cliff a little bit later. ENCE, to me, is a really good precursor map because it sets the pace when it comes to city maps. And we're going to talk more in depth about city versus open maps. The structures, the positioning, the rail system, some of the driving forces that these teams will use to push down some areas, reset, and then come back, at least in the North American region, can really backfire if it's done haphazardly or if it's done not with a vision, a team focus. The understanding of some of these different teams is really, really important to adjust and address issues and weaknesses, especially on the corner games.
Yeah, especially on ENCE. It's what's really important for the guys from Fnatic, that they get the focus on the mid area, and then they continue their pushing. They don't be super aggressive. They did like, okay, we go forward, okay, it's safe, maybe one step back, 2 steps forward. They really control always the game. They checked out where the position of the enemy team PvP Super Friends was always in the disadvantage without scouting, and they don't just push all in like they do it against Virtus Pro or in the maps before. They really controlled the game, and I think that's a Fnatic we need to see if they want to win.
That leapfrog effect, if you will, that cover system that,
exactly.
In the military you lose. You have your point man, and then you have your two
and then your friend comes
fire,
through,
your fire teams, then you switch out. And those are fundamentals that are applicable to almost any firefight, be it tanks, be it infantry, and it's really important to address. And of course, you want to perfect that type of fundamentals in any of these corner games on these city maps. Himmelsdorf, again, another city map. The hill play was entirely ineffective for PvP. Completely wiped them out, pretty much.
Yeah, we talk about before the match that if they fail, it's Robin's fault, and it was Robin in the hill trying to cover up Batman. It didn't work out.
We need Nightwing, is what we need. We don't need the Boy Wonder anymore. Yeah.
I'd say on Himmel there was plenty of mistakes on both sides. Okay, Fnatic judged well. They're displaced, they should push, and they pressed the solo tank in that window. But then we saw a series of bad shooting from the both sides. Then PvP did a good thing. A counter push, their tanks, pushing the center to shut down those tanks that were on the center field. But one of their tanks again went completely alone on the corner and faced 2 Fnatic tanks, and that more or less finished the battle for PvP. After that it is a workout and a battle with known conclusion.
Cliff, the final map that we've seen so far and is what's keeping PvP still alive in the series, they landed their shots immediately coming across the corner, and I felt that they had a way stronger position from the north where they were placing their tanks to the base of the lighthouse area. I think maybe it was a little bit too fast from Fnatic in that play, but the windows can be so small, the seconds can go so quickly in a lot of these firefights. But Magus, what did you pretty much see on Cliff? Was it just them landing their shots around those corners?
Yeah, exactly. And Fnatic got a super aggressive pick with the 4 of the 3090s. They played it good in the beginning, but then they struggle a bit. And then PvP used exactly this second of time frame to jump in and focus them out. And I think on the open map, PvP have the better team play against Fnatic, and they focus better and they work together to shielding each other. And I think Fnatic is lagging a bit the shielding on the open maps.
And also the kind of HP sharing.
Yeah, HP sharing. Yeah.
That's very, very crucial for all of these teams to understand the principles of HP sharing. And what I mean by that, for anyone that's new to the world of 7x42 and World of Tanks esports, is that if you're taking a little bit of damage and you're in the front and you have a teammate that's taking 0 damage, you switch it up. You let them go to the front, take a couple shots, and you're still trying to deal the more damage. The most important thing with HP sharing is to keep everyone alive as long as possible, because the more tanks are alive, the more damage that can be dealt. That's why taking out the 5100s with focus fire on a lot of these maps is so crucial, because it negates one of those tanks that the I3s are going to try to guard, and the huge damage dealer.
There are several things Fnatic ignored on Cliff now. They picked 4 3090s and 1 hold-on tank. Okay. Why do you send all those tanks on the middle? They have no advantage there. They have no armor to protect them. PvP picked 2 69s. They went immediately for the lower part of that small hill near the lighthouse, and they used their tanks by description for their advantage. They picked with their turrets, they did damage, they pulled back again and again, over. Fnatic locked themselves in a trap with tanks that are supposed to be mobile, unspotted. Why to do that?
Yeah, again,
it seems that PvP can use a group push against Fnatic, and we've seen that Fnatic knows to lock themselves or spread too much on some maps. Even on Ensk, PvP tried to play something like tactical, but they were far overspread. Like one of their tanks went on K1, then they had 1 guy in a window, 3 guys on a rail, and only 1 tier 1 spotting the green field really close. They left entire flank open because that tier 1 can't see anything unless it really comes that close and starts shooting on tanks. So there are ways to avoid that, but they're too fresh. They don't have that experience. So in the next game, if PvP keeps their game simple, as Vilki said, they have a chance.
Yeah.
If Fnatic avoids getting all over the place and something high under the sky and use the tanks what they're supposed to be used, they will win. They have better skill in their fingers. There is no doubt about it. And of course, they should both aim. Aim at them tanks when you shoot.
Yeah, that's true. They should focus more on the aim and to set the shells to the tanks, and that's really important. But Prokhorovka is also an open map, and PvP Super Friends win the open map on Cliff and lose on the city map. So I think it's slightly in favor for PvP Super Friends to strike back as well on Prokhorovka and even the score.
Because the open map. All right, guys, this is a final match
Prokho
for
is
tonight.
much bigger map. It gives much more favor to Tactic, and I'd say Fnatic has an advantage there, in my eyes.
You feel that Fnatic has the advantage. You feel
Yes.
PvP has the advantage. Well, we're going to find out, gentlemen. But before we jump into what may be the final map for PvP or another loss for Fnatic, Melly, anything going on in the social media world? We still got a lot of people still up around the world watching the tournament.
Absolutely, yes. I just threw in a quick question about Ensk, for example, and got very diverse answers, to be honest. It's like a map you either love or hate. And we have some comments on that, like, most exciting city map ever, and it's great for teams that can handle city maps very well. And then the next guy comes and says, it's the most boring map in the map pool. And
He must play artillery.
He must be an artillery player. Yeah.
yeah, probably. And it's the same with Cliff. And Cliff is a funny, fast map with all teams rushing the hill.
Well, I feel that we have a great spread of the different tactics that we can bring on these different types of maps. Hill throws a wrench sometimes in a lot of teams' abilities to maneuver in certain situations on Himmelsdorf, excuse me. Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, the game is almost ready to go on Prokhorovka. Let's throw it on over to the commentators.
Well, it seems like there are mixed opinions on what's going to happen here. PvP Super Friends being good in the open, Fnatic good in the closed areas. The next map is open, and the fifth map mixed. Some open and some cover. So it seems like it, in theory, according to our experts, probably going to go to the fifth map for the first time in this competition. We'll see soon enough, as the next map, as we said, is Prokhorovka.
And on Prokhorovka, remember, guys, the west side, there's a controlling bowl position. Train tracks split the map and provide some excellent positions to stop your opponents.
One thing, though, that Fnatic has had lots of experience so far on Prokhorovka in this tournament, so they're pretty warmed up, they're pretty familiar, and they're ready to go. PvP Super Friends, on the other hand, this is the first time I believe they're on Prokhorovka, although I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, this is game number 4 of Fnatic versus PvP Super Friends, and they need this one to stay into it. If they do not get this, they are out, going home. But Fnatic just need to get a draw or a win, and they get through to face Unity tomorrow. So, what about those tanks?
Well, we've got a T32 Pershing and 3 1390s for PvP Super Friends. On the other side of Pershing, 2 T69s and 2 1390s. Mobility going in the favor of Fnatic. They could use this to start their attack early, but I'm just gonna see maybe some opening scout runs, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get a lot of damage. Batman, Hydrorex may take some damage as they peek over, and Terra does not, but shots fired.
First shot fired by Friction, but didn't connect to anybody there, as Super Friends are spinning around in the center, trying to find something that happened. And this formation is very good against someone like Unity, where they played very aggressive into that section, cut off the enemies, and destroyed them. But they would have been fine. If they attacked like that against Super Friends, how they are now, they would have been fine.
I'm looking and seeing that Nagatron is going to be crucial to the way this map plays out.
But
Soviet's
wait a
fine,
minute,
though.
one guy is getting focused down, 214, he's down! That was amazing focus fire from Fnatic, but Friction's getting some return fire as PvP Super Friends are on the offensive. They gotta get Friction down, he's down to one more hit, Batman gets the kill and takes him down, and Hugo Maximus now in a lot of trouble as well as PvP Super Friends come in full speed, but there is another tank on one more hit and he's down, but that's another kill for PvP Super Friends, so it's now down 2 tanks against just 1. Fnatic are in a lot of trouble. It's 3 max HP take. I say max, but Nagatron takes a hit, and now he's in trouble. His Hydrex still got 3 shells left. 2 shells, 1 more. He will not be able to get the kill unless he puts him on fire.
And Jackie's just about reloaded.
Jackie's reloaded, but he has to get out of there. But wait, Batman again, he gets the kill. He goes for the ram. No, he decides instead to shoot and turn. He misses the shot. Jackie's reloaded, but Batman's at max HP and able to get out of there. As Relix is trying to get involved as well in his T1 to try and give some damage. But Entree is actually low on HP, could be very vulnerable to the T1 play right now. In fact, everyone is everywhere as Robin is completely away from the rest of his team, trying to distract Fnatic there and having a little fight with either Relix or Junior. I think Junior.
No, that looks like Relics. just playing around in Echo 5-6. Junior, though, is now just alone. Soviet is taking on Hydrorex in the 1390.
And Soviet did not have enough damage to kill him, so he accessed to run. I wouldn't be surprised if Hydrorex just tried to stop and fire. And Soviet's one shot away from dying, and Hydrorex takes him down. Jackie is the last guy left for Fnatic, as PvP Super Friends still have 4 tanks to take him down. What an upset. It's going to go to 2-all, and it is going to go to the 5th map. The experts were right. The open map seems to be the playground of PvP Super Friends, but actually it's not over, as Jackie is still on high HP, and as I said that, 477, 234, 200, 170, he is down! PvP Super Friends take the 4th map, going to the 5th for the first time on Ruinberg, an actual mixed map. We don't know if it's going to be city or open. This is crazy.
I am completely surprised. I really did not expect this level of performance from PvP Super Friends.
Super Friends getting the 4th map, 2-all. That's their morale back. That is it. Batman's going crazy out of his seats, and the rest of his team couldn't believe it. Wow, I cannot believe how PvP Super Friends played.
Yeah, that was incredibly aggressive. I haven't seen an over-the-top like that since Season 1 WGLNA, when teams just used to go straight over the top.
Yeah,
Bold.
they did. They just went
bold,
straight in the
brave,
middle. They mixed it up. Do you know what? This is something I think that they strive on. Chaos. They made the chaos. They go in between Fnatic, and then Fnatic's like, wait, what? And they split up. And they get rid of that teamwork, that cohesion, and then they just make it work.
You know, that is actually something that Fnatic has talked about before. The fact that when teams do stuff that doesn't seem to make sense to them, stuff that just is off the wall, it catches them by surprise, and then they sit there and go, what did just happen? How did they just do that? Why did they just do that? Because crazy stuff like that will catch them off guard. They're expecting conventional play, and they're expecting to counter that. But it didn't happen, and you can see how that affected them in this case.
Batman was not playing in a T1 at all, and that 1390 play by him was amazing. Just every time a tank was on low HP, but the PvP Super Friend ran out of shells, Batman came swooping in behind and finished them off. Every time it's like, oh no, he's going to lose the fight. Batman comes in and takes him down. Absolutely amazing play by him. He's been playing in a T1 for some of the fights, but in this map, he's taken charge himself, and he's on the front line, proving himself as a great 1390 driver.
You said earlier that the reason he's called Batman is because, well, originally, that he likes the Bat Chat, right?
Yeah, well, clearly the 1390 is very similar to the Bat Chat.
It's one of the previous tanks, and every skill from the 1390 translates to the Bat Chat and vice versa. They're practically the same tank, just at different tiers.
Yeah, it proves that he is so good on that. And the open map analysis was spot on. They performed so well in the open maps. Cliff was just theirs, and we just saw Prokofka. Wow, it was a mix-up, it was chaos, it was awesome, and PvP Super Friends just took charge, and Fnatic, I think, was stunned. I think it was honestly like a stun grenade. They just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I was a little taken aback by that kind of aggression. Not surprised that that caught Fnatic off guard. They probably will be ready for something like that next time. It just seems the trend. However, Fnatic's lost their momentum. We've talked about this before, being momentum-based
We warned it. We warned about it. We said that Fnatic, they need to keep going. They need to get 3-0 or they're in trouble. And what happens? They're in trouble. They are in so much trouble that they need to make sure that morale stays high enough. They're not arguing. They seem decent, but the fun has been taken out of their sails. They were very laughing and joking before. They were relaxed. And now, not so much.
It's very difficult to try and get that back. I've never seen them rally. I've never seen them rally. I've seen them start slow. I've never seen them win, lose, and then just take it back. It's always been one or the other.
But they are on Ruinberg. Ruinberg is a hybrid map. It's half city, half open. So maybe we'll see a Fnatic city play to avoid the open ground where PvP Super Friends seems to have the advantage.
I doubt it, though. It just seems out of the style of Fnatic. Usually Fnatic will bring 1390s. They really love that tank, and they'll pair it with some Pershing IS-3 kind of play here and there. 5100 probably. Maybe not a Pershing on Ruinberg, but 5100 IS-3s with those 1390s. You saw how they used it in their previous series when they went all the way over to the one line. the far west, and they used that along with some spotting in the middle to snipe out and counter the positions they knew their opponents were going to take.
That's one thing we've noticed that they are... Well, this is actually one thing we noticed about some of the teams. When they get on their last legs, they try something crazy out of their comfort zone to throw the enemy out of their comfort zone. However, I think Fnatic's information on PvP Super Friends is limited, and they need to stay standard. They need to play their plays. And we said it earlier, you know yourself best. And if you know yourself and you trust in yourself and you perform well with yourself, forgetting your opponent, you can still mostly see your victories. So if they stop thinking about their opponent and just play their play, they probably can see this through. But if they decide that, okay, let's play something crazy because we're obviously not working, things could go wrong. But it looks like we're readying up for Ruinberg, and this is going to be the decider, the fifth and final map between PvP Super Friends and Fnatic. And wow, what can you say about Ruinberg?
Well, Ruinberg is a hybrid map, as we talked about before. There is one road splitting the map in half, just halfway between the two spawn points, north and south. North spawn is incredibly easy to cap, I believe. South is an open kill zone.
Yeah, it's one of these things that there's so much you can do with it, but most teams choose to do one or the other. But anyway, let's hear it for Fnatic versus PvP Super Friends. Game number 5, the decider of who goes home and who goes against Unity tomorrow. This is a big moment for both these teams. PvP Super Friends trying themselves out on the world stage, representing their region. Same with Fnatic. What are these tanks?
Two 5100s, two IS3s, and a 1390 for PvP. On the other side, two 5100s and IS3 and two 1390s. Very slight mobility going in the favor of Fnatic. On the other side, more hit points, more alpha.
Oh my god, we are seeing a city defense here from PvP Super Friends.
You know, I have to tell you a little story. PvP used to be on the America server way back when, and in Clan Wars, this was the strat.
Really?
15 tanks, all back here.
Wow, they seem to not have kicked that habit as they decide they are going to play the defensive side. Now, we were talking about PvP Super Friends being aggressive and in the open, getting the advantage in the open field, but they have decided to take the city. However, I must say I've seen the strategy played out 100 times, even in amateur leagues, in A-Series, so I can guess and guarantee that Fnatic have practiced against such tactics.
Yeah, the counter to this has been known since before WGLNA. It's you approach from the north along the 2 line. Yeah, you know 2, and then you start the fight. You try and jump on one tank, alpha it down before they have even a chance to realize that you're even there, and then you just take it from there. You take your one tank advantage and you make the brawl happen. It's difficult though because you have to actually recognize this and then have enough time to make that adjustment, because the only way you're going to probably recognize this is approaching from the east.
And they're doing that right now. It's going to take a few minutes for them to realize what is going on, as PvP Super Friends have revealed their hand to us, but not Fnatic. Fnatic have to figure this out without losing anybody, and really without losing any HP, and more importantly, without losing much time. They do not have enough time to worry about, to take their time too much. They have to get this done within 2 or 3 minutes of the game starting, or they will not have enough time to assault from the north.
Yeah, once they figure out the position of PvP Super Friends, I think it takes about 3 minutes to set up for this
counter.
This counter, yeah. Although I like the position of Robin. I don't remember seeing a lot of T1s in this position. That should actually reveal this push and actually give PvP Super Friends a chance to escape from the counter.
I think this is enough information, though. I think this is enough for Fnatic to realize what's going on. There's absolutely... The two things could be happening right now for Fnatic. Oh, God, they're going for the cap. They're going for a cap fast. Or they're camping in the bottom left. Now, with PvP's track record, at least in this tournament, aggression is really the name of the game. But we're going to see that this isn't the case.
The old PvP, the one of pre-team battles, is known for this.
So maybe this will trigger a memory in someone in Fnatic, and they're going to say, like, hey guys, they're not pushing through the city, we know what they're doing, and this is the time. And they only wasted 3 minutes, so they've got enough time. I think Fnatic have realized what is going on, and this is one of those tactics I call special. This is a special tactic. It's a set play. It's almost like chess. This is a set play, and they're going by the book, which means that Fnatic needs to know the exact counter, or else it can go horribly wrong.
One thing I do wonder is, does PvP Super Friends have an actual second move once they realize they're being countered? Because I've rarely seen a team that takes up this position actually move from it. They just sit there.
They can't. What are they going to do? If they move into their cap zone, they're in the complete open. It's really hard.
Remember JL versus Fnatic earlier when Fnatic was beginning to attack, they were a little bit split. Oh, there's that bell.
That is the bell. I
Yeah.
did say about that
What was
bell,
that
and
bell?
there's the ding. I told you. I really did.
I did not know the bell actually rang. Is it at a certain time or is it just...
Actually, I don't know that much. I think it's every minute, maybe.
The bell completely got me off my train of thought.
I think you were talking about the strategy, abandoned strategy with JL or something.
Okay, I've never seen a team actually move from this and try and counter, but JL on Prohorovka, they started a counter push. Right?
Yes.
They started it and they tried to time it so that Nagatron and Soviet were out of position. If there's a small split with Fnatic, you could see tanks from PvP Super Friends try and attack in one direction to get a flank and to escape from the surrounded position. If you're surrounded, the best option you have is to attack. Pick a direction and go forward.
I think I know what Super Friends wants to do. They want to actually go to the assault map.
They want to go to the...
I don't know who's done the most damage out of these teams and whether they get to pick the side, but I've got a feeling they feel more comfortable on the assault map against Fnatic. It's an open map, it's an aggression map. I think they've got the advantage there.
And they've done more damage in the previous series, so they get to pick
I'm
their
not
side.
sure because Fnatic had a very, very light lineup on Cliff, which means that there was less HP to get.
I don't think it was close enough like that. There were enough tanks left alive at the end to the point where I think the damage is pretty fairly in
But
favor
Fnatic's had
of
some...
PvP.
Do you know what? We will find out
We'll
if
find
that
out later.
happens. Let's focus now as the 5-minute mark hits. Fnatic are moving up together. They are getting ready for this assault. The only thing I'm not sure... Oh!
Did that hit?
That hit Relics. Relics went down, but that does mean the autoloaders have used a shell each, which does go in the favor of Fnatic. Now, normally they would actually use the T1 in that situation to absorb that shell, but now they... Assuming that one of these 5100s would have reloaded, they have 45 seconds to go in. But there you go, one of them is on reload. This is the absolute perfect time for Fnatic to go in, and it looks like they are going to time this absolutely perfectly without even realizing it.
hesitate.
And it seems like they're going in now. It's all or nothing here for Fnatic. If they do not do this right now, then it would be even harder for them. But both of them will reload. Oh no, that's an IS-3. I was going to say that would be absolutely disastrous for PvP, but they're not. They're taking their time. It looks like the reload might actually succeed here for the 5100, and that is a stroke of luck for the PvP Super Friends.
And now Hydrorex has taken fire. He's down to 885 hit points, so first blood on a tier 8 going to Fnatic.
It's from Soviet on the other side. He's actually attacking from the other direction to make sure they can't just all focus in one way. But Fnatic are letting PvP Super Friends reorganize their forces. They're letting them react. I don't think that all of Fnatic here were spotted. But as you said, if they know the counter...
They're just about all. Junior's the only one who hasn't been spotted at all.
Yeah, okay, so they know they're here, and they are allowed to readjust. So maybe this isn't going to go well as Hugo takes a first shot there as this first damage against Fnatic hits. Hugo's hit again. He's out of position, really. He should not be there. He needs to go in altogether or not at all, and that could be the difference between success and failure. Nagatron's also taking some damage as he goes around the back, and they're doing 0 damage in exchange. This is disastrous for Fnatic. They basically need to go for draw now. There's almost no way.
Hugo needs to just get himself reverse angled and start trying to absorb shots from 5100s, and if he can get that to happen, then the other 5100s, Friction, Jackie, can just push in.
60% HP for these tanks. They are in a lot of trouble. If they push in now, the HP advantage that they had is gone. The position advantage they never had, so they've got to be very careful here. They gave PvP Super Friends all the time in the world to react to this. It looks in trouble. And Soviet gets tracked in the open. That's a repair kit gone. If he gets tracked again, he can be taken out. Robin is still hidden there. No, there he goes. He's been spotted. Soviet's going to ignore him and try over the top. He does get over the top. Whoa, he actually could have gone there, but Soviet's taking a lot of damage right now, and he's got to be careful as Robin bolts. But there we go. The engagement from Fnatic happens as Friction is right in the middle of nowhere, trying to get Little Mac down. As Jackie goes down to 1 hit, and Aswater comes around the back, trying to finish off Jackie, but Jackie is not going down quickly as Soviet goes down to 1 hit as well. It's not looking good for Fnatic as they are surrounded, but Little Mac does go down. It is 4 versus 4, and all the T1s are down. Junior's the only one still alive. Friction comes on the back, trying to take out the IS-3 there, but they haven't got the ammo. They have to wait for Hugo to reload. It looks like his ammo rack is damaged. That's why the slow reload is happening, and it's super close here. PvP Superman has an edge, it seems, as Fnatic are damaged.
Hugo bounces on the front
He
of
bounces
Anteri.
on, and he has an ammo rack damage. He's not going to get another shot. That is the end of that. Hugo is down. Nagatron's the last guy left. 306 HP. Super Friends have got 2 minutes. It looks like Fnatic are going to go out. It's all out to the Super Friends now to break their camp and chase them.
But they have relatively slow tanks. Only Hydrorex is left. Nagatron needs to find a strong position if he wants to try to draw this PvP, though. stunning defense.
Stunning defense, or it was a lousy attack. The too much HP lost by Hugo and Jackie. If they didn't lose that HP at the start, I think it would have gone a different way. Look how low two of the tanks are from Super Friends. That's less HP than the HP loss from Hugo and Jackie.
And there were some bounces in there that I saw from Fnatic that just should not have happened.
Well, we did know that Hugo was badly damaged. He did have his ammo rack damaged. That's why he was firing so slowly. And that obviously would have made a huge difference. And maybe his gun was damaged as well.
Maybe.
At least his gunner was dead. I got a feeling that his gunner was dead as well. He did seem to be firing a lot slower and a lot less accurate. I think he was hugely damaged, but PvP Super Friends are... Look at Batman screaming at the bottom. Come on, guys, we've got to find them. 54 seconds, and they're going for the cap.
They're sending Anuto over to try and screen the cap to figure out if they... to try and just find
Okay,
Nagatron.
it's all up to the cap. Nagatron has to kill one of these guys. Asword is the guy that he needs to kill, but is he spotted? The answer is no. He aims at the free hit, but he misses, and he goes down. That's it. PvP Super Friends have taken out Fnatic. They're going through to Unity. Look at Batman kicking his computer over in excitement. He cannot believe it. They've taken down Fnatic. Asia have beaten North America and are going through to the next round, to the last day. Wow, that is excitement and a half. Mitch has got the biggest hug of his life. Oh, speechless, absolutely speechless.
Is he saying something into Mitch's ear? I can't tell, I want to know.
Probably I love you. Oh, that wasn't Batman. Sorry, that's Batman. That's just some PvP Super Friends. Wow, these guys are very excited. I couldn't see his face. These guys are so energetic and happy. That was the best result. I gotta be careful not to knock off the monolith.
I thought he was going to go run for it and just run with it. Just be like, it's mine.
It's mine now. It's mine.
Not yet.
Batman, he's Batman, and that's why they won. Nagatron cannot be happy with that. They must be hugely disappointed. But absolute stunning performance by PvP Super Friends. It's unexpected.
Just completely.
You are literally speechless.
I am just about to speak like this at all. I did not expect PvP to perform at this level.
So let's talk about the critical mistake for Fnatic. On the final map, definitely Jackie and Hugo taking. In fact, it wasn't Jackie and Hugo. It was Nagatron and Hugo, and it was Nagatron and Hugo that took the damage independently, not going in and doing zero damage in return.
Hugo just kind of peeked out and left himself sitting out there for a little bit, and the 5100s were just trained on his position.
He took the shot and then went back to the cover. And thought, actually, no, I'll go and have another shot. And then he gets hit again, and the Nagatron peeks out, and he gets a hit, and they just bleed this HP away. You cannot do that.
Yeah, just you can't. Little mistakes made throughout the series really hurt them, and we talked about this before. Once they lose the momentum, they just have trouble getting it back.
Okay, but that's enough from us. That's enough of the excitement, and let's go talk to Batman on the stage.
Well, Mr. Batman, that was an incredible set of games. Almost got knocked out by not one but two of your players after that victory. Now you're panting. Such a massive celebration. Tell me, did you ever think you'd be here, being obviously the youngest server group? Did you guys think, honestly, I saw your video, I spoke to you guys, you said you were just happy to be here. What's the feeling like with you guys right now?
We're the vacation team, and we got 4th place secured. What?
Yes, indeed. Well, look, I've got to cut through this and maybe just discuss that last map. You guys play the open maps with such aggression. Okay, you go in, I heard you screaming, Nagatron, Nagatron, especially on Prokhorovka, I think it was. Ruinberg, you slowed down a lot. Did you want to play for that tiebreaker, or was there a particular way you were trying to play Ruinberg?
We suck in Ruinberg. That's just the truth. So we just camped it and wanted to go to San River because we had a good, solid plan. We're going to rush them and go, YOLO, what the hell? Let's just go YOLOs in Ruinberg. Not Ruinberg, San River. I'm sorry, I can't breathe. I'm so excited. Everyone says Asia. The Asian server sucks, but what? Look at us now. We're the 4. What?
I don't even know what to say. Look up. Fantastic work for you guys. Go and celebrate for a bit. Go and celebrate. Tomorrow, we're going to see you guys back here, of course. What a development, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be the youngest server team going up against teams from the oldest server. Obviously, the Russian teams as well as some of the European. Let's pass it over to the analysts. Let's see what they have to say about your 1390 play. Batman, what do you reckon? Clutch, hit us.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. That was one of the coolest moments I think we've ever seen in the world of esports and world of tanks. Batman is able to do it with his team. Justice is served for him and the Super Friends. Congratulations. Let's try to break down these games, fellas. We try to compose ourselves. The Vacation Team.
I'm gonna download this and keep it forever.
Oh, there'll be gifts, my friend. There'll be gifts. The Vacation Team now has secured 4th place. First off, they were down 0-2. We talked about those games, 0-2 in those 2 games, and then Cliff was the clinch for them, the decider.
Yeah.
After that, Prohorovka, the PvP Circle of Death is what we're going to have to name that new strategy coming out from
Batman
them.
used his
Rodeo riding.
superpowers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the rodeo riding.
it was the rodeo riding. It was the Batwing of disaster. Call it what you want. It completely worked for them. What happened? Was this actually more of a breakdown of Fnatic versus PvP?
This was really, really bad choice of Fnatic what to do. They saw tanks down going up to them, and they went on opposite sides, splitting all over the map instead of take control of the part of the map already had, push the woods, shoot them in the flank, and finish the game. What they did, they separated tanks, and the guys used every hole in the ground. Batman went like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get you, boy!" And that was it. He just drove between them, and he survived, and he scored like 1, 2, 3 kills. And they were like turning around, and we can't shoot, we can't hit. What?
Where's the Batman? Where's the Batman?
Yeah. Where is he? Where is he? Well,
Yeah, he was too fast.
We talked about this many times, though. Fnatic had to stay together as a team because that was their biggest strength.
I expected this is like big map. They will play something tactical. They will use their knowledge and skill in their advantage, and they will win. Mago said, no, they're going to die. So, okay.
I was right.
All right, well, moving on to Ruinberg. Strength versus mobility. That 1390. If you could take that up against an IS-3, that's almost getting crushed like tinfoil with some of these tanks up against such a behemoth. And because of that, because of the strength and armor that they had, they played camp. And that is what pretty much led to their victory. Was there anything that Fnatic could have done on their approach that could have been different that we saw?
This is so normal in the EU. It'll go forwards. The other team, if it plays the Southwest camp, the other team has a lighter setup. You don't attack the Southwest camp.
Never, ever.
Never. You don't do
never.
that. You wait out and change the tank. You can't do it here. It would have been better to Fnatic to go to the Sand River and try again. Magus said it really well. Fnatic went to the tilt. They wanted to play aggressive, and that was their downfall. They wanted to defuse the camp in the Southwest, but you can't do it with a double
Impossible.
1390 setup. It's impossible.
I think one of the biggest things we've pinpointed with Fnatic is they keep trying to prove something to themselves.
Yeah.
They keep trying to
This
prove
is
something to themselves, and that's their
strictly
downfall.
Ego. I can't find any other answer. Why do you attack enemy in superior position if you don't look upon them like they're lower than you by skill? Like they're expecting that they will miss everything, they will position badly and whatever. We really saw in that shootout a series of bad play by both sides. But PvP had stronger tanks and better positions. So it didn't matter much.
Exactly. And I have to say, PvP know that they're skill-wise a bit behind, and maybe also tactical side. So they decide, okay, the best thing we can do in Runeberg's house, we just play defensive. We know that Fnatic play always aggressive, so why not let us wait for him? They come anyways. So we use advantage. Perfect picking also in the favor of PvP with the second IS-3 compared to the 1390. So they got the alpha damage as well in the windows, perfectly hold down position. So they do the best they can do, and it was definitely the best to continue to the 4th place decider or the semifinals. And yeah, perfectly outpicked and played from PvP, I would say.
This is the biggest upset for the entire tournament. We can all agree on that based on what we've seen and a lot of the coordination coming from the American teams preparing to play against the Russian and EU teams. America is out. Southeast Asia is in. And since they've secured the 4th spot, their next opponent tomorrow is going to be the Red Rush Unity. How do they prepare for this opponent for tomorrow?
I don't know how you can prepare against superheroes.
No. I think they will just go to the basics and they will focus on their own tactics like they did before in the matches. They expect nothing. They expect nothing against Na'Vi. They lose. They expect nothing against Fnatic, and they beat them. So I think they will continue their way, having fun here, enjoy the event, and do the best they could and to entertain the crowd. I mean, Batman is just amazing.
Yeah.
They look so relaxed.
Yeah. That's I think the way how they can beat Unity. Be relaxed, enjoy the event, and do what they can.
Well, let's go down the line. Closing thoughts for the day, gentlemen. Day 2 is over. Mr. has the sniffles, but has been keeping it on lockdown. Congratulations on that, by the way, man. We appreciate you staying with us here.
Thank you.
Final thoughts. Batman. I'm going to hear that from Mr. Mojo for a long time from the Kazakh crew. Wilkie?
Excellent games. I'm excited to wait tomorrow and see the rest of the games. Really big, good tournament so far, so I'm really excited to wait tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, I think we'll see the best of the best with the different matches because so much more is at stake with the final teams. Magnus, thank you so much for joining us today. Final thoughts?
Nothing to add. These two guys said already what I.
That's why we got him here. That's why we got him here. All right. And Melly, you've been holding it down with our audience, with the social media. How was the day for you?
It was insane. We promised huge upsets, and I think we got them pretty much. And the community at home is sheerly amazed. It's insane. My Twitter feed is basically exploding. Seriously, one message after another. I barely can keep up with them. It's amazing. But I got one really interesting one. Really impressive battles by PvP during the grand finals. By the way, very interesting tactic. I'm sure it will be copied during the Runeberg battles. Is it a viable tactic?
To camp?
The camp, it's really
The camp circle.
It's a really usual thing.
Yeah, it's usual tactic.
Yeah. I
So,
think every second team.
Piotr, I think you have to follow more games, right?
I think so. I think
yeah,
so.
but whatever. Thank you so much for your participation. It's been amazing. You guys make my job really easy, and thank you for that. Don't forget our challenge on facebook.com/WGLEU. Like our Facebook page, become a part of our network, and don't miss any single action going on there. And of course, don't forget to follow our Twitch channel to get notified as soon as we're going live. And that's pretty much all from my side. Thank you very much.
All right, Melly, we'll see more of you tomorrow. We'll hear more from our audience. As a reminder, hashtag the grand finals. That does it for us on the analysis desk. A special thank you again to Blue Boys captain who joined us earlier today. And now the final words from Uber.
Yes, or is that really my name? I mean, you've never seen me and Bruce Wayne in the same room at the same time, so you never actually know. What a fantastic day, Carmack. That last game was incredible. The emotion was so high. I almost got knocked out twice after that game, and now I can't even hold my microphone properly.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in esports for 12 years. I've never seen such crazy scenes of celebration. It was, I mean, it's impossible not to feel happy for them.
Yeah, big time. I mean, these guys have come a long way, and it's been a long trip for them as well. But let's not forget the real story as well. Tomorrow we've got some huge games coming up. Of course, we've got our Virtus Pro, we've got our Na'Vi, and we've got a Red Rush Unity are going to be amongst it as well. Quickly, guys, just want to announce that the Blitz prize for the quickest win of the day went to Fnatic with 2 minutes and 23 seconds. So they're going to get a lovely little bonus to their total. Guys, don't go too far, of course. You can go a little way, I guess. We're gonna end for the night. But tomorrow we're coming back with our finals. 4 teams have advanced. 4 teams have their shot at taking the title of the very best World of Tanks team in the world and all the glory that comes along with that. So we'll be here, same place, same time, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, Warsaw.
Good night.